The following content is designed for audio consumption. Party of Allah that will be victorious. Colored in green on a yellow background, part of the 56th verse of the Quran in the 5th surah composes, along with the image of a Kalashnikov and the globe, the flag of the Lebanese Islamist group Hezbollah, literally, Party of God. In different hues, the same symbols adorn the banner of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. The same ones who, in 1982, just 3 years after Ruhollah Khomeini's triumphant return to his homeland, tasked the Quds Force with creating a military force to counter the Israeli invasion of Lebanon, home to the PLO after its expulsion from Jordan following the Black September of 1970. Former members of Fatah, the Palestinian party responsible for the attempted assassination of Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom Shlomo Argov, the casus belli of the war, volunteers and Shiite militias already active in the south and the Bekaa Valley were merged and trained in time by the Iranian Pastran, who provided the fighters with cutting-edge weaponry and an efficient organizational structure. In its genesis, Hezbollah has thus developed a symbiotic relationship with the Islamic Republic, from which it reportedly receives around $700 million annually, according to American sources, and with the very idea of war, to the extent that today it would even be capable of holding its own against Tel Aviv militarily. This military readiness was already demonstrated in the brief conflict of 2006, and more generally in the intervention in the Syrian civil war alongside Bashar al-Assad. Flag of the Quds Force, a component of the Pastran responsible for operations outside of Iran. Wikimedia Commons. Terrorism and anti-Israeli resistance. 3 years after its inception, parallel to the withdrawal of Israeli armed forces from the security zone in southern Lebanon, Hezbollah formulates its official justifications. On February 16, 1985, Ibrahim al-Amineh, then spokesman for the movement, publishes the manifesto in which the reasons for the existence of the Party of God are declared. The struggle against the imperialism of Americans and Israelis and the commitment to their definitive expulsion from the Middle East, the defense of Lebanon, and the reunification of the entire Ummah under a single political entity. Under these auspices, Hezbollah immediately becomes a key player in the nascent regional dispute between Israelis and Iranians. For the former, it represents a perpetual sword of Damocles hanging over their heads, which they will repeatedly try to weaken or dismantle by force. For Iran, the Party of God represents instead a necessary proxy for its sought-after primacy in the Middle East. The numerous attacks carried out by Hezbollah repeatedly jeopardized the positions of Tehran's enemies in the region. He who never sleeps, the alias of Imad Mughniya, for a long time the world's most wanted terrorist, is considered the mastermind behind most of these attacks. The most serious occurred in 1983 in West Beirut against the International Peace Force of the UN, causing its departure. In the bombing attack, 241 U.S. Marines and 56 French paratroopers died. There are other raids, such as the one against the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, headquarters in Tyre, or the attack on the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires in 1992, although there are doubts about the direct involvement of the Lebanese group in the latter. Ruins of the American base after the Beirut bombing. Wikimedia Commons. Entry into politics. In the 1990s, with the end of the civil war in Lebanon, Hezbollah abandons its uncompromising revolutionary stance and the idea of transforming Lebanon into a theocratic republic and runs in the 1992 parliamentary elections, managing to win 12 out of 128 seats. The first Secretary General, for 2 years, is the Lebanese Subhi al-Tafayli, followed by Abbas al-Mazawi, who was killed after less than a year in office by an IDF raid. Since 1992, the party has found stability with the rise of the current Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah, the champion of resistance against Israel and the one who allowed Hezbollah to come to power in 2005. Today, after Amal, the Party of God is the largest representative of the Shiite community in the land of the Cedars and has a large support base even beyond its borders. Hassan Nasrallah with Ali Khamenei and the late Qasem Soleimani. Wikimedia Commons. However, it is within Lebanon that Hezbollah flourishes. Over time, it has become a veritable state within the state. In the south and in the Bekaa Valley, in the territories where it is most present, the party manages security and welfare. Hospitals, shops, schools, and construction companies, as well as a series of organizations tasked with managing aid to the population and particularly to the families of its militants. The Party of God also has its own television channel, Al-Mana, the official organ of its propaganda. Institutionalized, also thanks to these means, and having become one of the best equipped and capable military forces in the Middle East, Hezbollah manages to gain a certain autonomy in its financial support. Illegal drug trafficking from South America and banking fraud contribute to this. All this allows the Lebanese militia party to acquire increasing weight in the regional chessboard. For example, since 2014, it has begun to offer its technical consultancy to Shiite militias in Syria and Iraq and to the Yemeni Houthis, often acting as a mediator in disputes that arise among various regional actors, influencing their geopolitical trajectories. All in all, the role of the party is ever-growing, with no limits or endpoints. Today, Hezbollah is inevitably back in conflict with Israel, and perhaps it will be at the center of the news in the coming months as the current crisis in the Middle East unfolds. Nothing new for those who have sprouted from the chaos of dramatic events and have pitched their tents there. Thank you for your attention. We ask you to subscribe, leave a like and a comment. Thank you and see you next time.